Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Elephant in the Room podcast. I'm Dakota.
I'm Steven.
So today we've got a bit of an update before we get too in-depth of this video. We've got a lot more information about the shooting in Kenosha, Kyle Rittenhouse. So his legal team has been assembled. John Pierce is one of the lawyers. He went on air with Tucker Carlson to speak a little bit more about what kind of defense they're building. It's clearly, he said, it's a clear-cut case of self-defense. And Tucker actually went on to ask him, he was like, so I've heard that he was transporting a firearm across state lines. His lawyer, he said that is not true. And we did find out information about that. He did not travel across state lines with that firearm. He works in Kenosha, and he was on his way to defend his place of employment, and he was defending other businesses. His friend gave him the AR-15 rifle that he had, but his main purpose that he decided to show up for, and he was seen in an interview with the Daily Caller, he said his main reason for being there was to provide medical aid to either or both sides. Didn't matter whether they were Black Lives Matter or Antifa or the militia that he was with. He was there mainly to provide medical care. Now, the state law says that it is illegal for anybody under the age of 18 to possess a firearm. But there's a catch to that, Stephen. That catch is that if it is a short-barreled rifle or shotgun, it becomes illegal to open carry in the state of Wisconsin. However, the AR-15 he was carrying is a long-barreled rifle, so that means any charges of him crossing a state line with a firearm or him illegally open carrying are going to go out the window.
Checkmate, leftists.
Exactly. So that is now in motion. They're setting to have his case here probably within the next month. Like Steven and I both said in the last episode, it's clear-cut self-defense. You know, he showed up to provide medical aid. He was attacked, and he shot and killed two of them, shot and injured the third. Now, there was a statement put out on Facebook by Mr. Bicep Shot's buddy. He said the guy's only regret, his only regret was not emptying his magazine in the back of Kyle's head. So he was going to execute him in the middle of the street.
It's a damn shame, you know, he's getting this kid Rittenhouse was there to provide aid to whoever needed it, and gets mobbed by these absolute lunatics, defends himself, and now he's, you know, seen as what is it, whatever they're running the hit piece now. Oh, he's a white supremacist. You know, the same attack they use on conservatives over and over and over again. It's a shame. Oh God, if you had a dime.
Yeah, if we had a dime for each time we would call racists, Nazis, you know, white supremacists again, Klans members, neo-Nazis.
That's right, guys. I'm a white supremacist.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
They've
got some pretty advanced hiring tactics these days.
Whoa. So since we're on the topic of Kenosha and Mr. Rittenhouse, Joe Biden had a town hall meeting in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Oh boy.
And Steven, I'll let you take it from here with this one.
Well, he was accepting questions from, you know, various people in the room, of which there were only like 6. I don't know, maybe there were more out of the shot of the camera, but he was kind of sitting in the back, and then there was an African American lady, and, you know, several other people in the pews. It kind of looked like he was in a church. Maybe he was. I'm not sure. But there didn't seem to be that many people. But I believe he had a mask on as well. And he was getting to a point where he was taking questions, and the black woman stood up and she said, you know, and I quote, "I can't do this anymore. I know I was given questions, but the people need to hear the truth." End quote.
Man, they're baiting these people.
I mean, literally, Joe Biden is getting questions pre-written for him so that he doesn't embarrass himself every time he speaks, which he inevitably does anyway. It's just sad, and I don't really feel bad for him, but it's sad that he has to be continually trotted out there with the most easy softball questions they can lob at him. And even with just regular average Americans, they've got to give you scripted questions. It's a shame.
I mean, they're dragging him along. He doesn't know what states he's in to give statements. They're giving him pre-done questions, and just in an attempt to save face, just stop. Seriously. All right, it's getting to the point where how much more lying and BS can you put out there? And yes, there are people with blinders on that aren't going to look at the facts. And I used to be one of those people. I used to be like, oh, I believe everything the media said. Well, look at where I'm at now. I don't believe anything the media says.
I'm one of those white supremacist former Obama voters. Yeah. Well, I didn't vote for him, but I was definitely a supporter. So there's that. But look at us. So, the truth will set you free regardless of where you're at initially. But segueing from the town hall itself, which again was a total mess, we go to Joe Biden's remarks on August 30th. Now, I saw this on August 30th. It was a Twitter link that I saw it, and it could have been earlier, could have been later, but it was in Pittsburgh, and he was talking about how many deaths that there have been from coronavirus, and he just has this NPC meltdown of the highest proportion I've ever seen. He's talking and he says, "Oh, there's been 100,000 deaths," and in the middle of it, it's like his brain stops working, and he's like,
just shuts off. There's nothing.
There's been 100,000 deaths, this year, and I you know what I'm saying, and it was literally like that, and it was the weirdest tick I've ever seen, and it's just, I mean, I've never met anybody personally with dementia. I know a lot of people have grandparents have dementia and things like that. That has got to be the clearest case of it I've ever seen. I've never met anyone again, but I've seen the symptoms and things like that. That's got to be the clearest case of dementia, of short-term memory loss I've ever seen. Just in the middle of a sentence, he just is gone. So, I mean, the fitness for president is a little plain to see, but I remember when Hillary was running and they said, oh, Trump's not mentally fit enough to be the president. Where are those people now? Because Joe Biden is a mess.
It's I've met and spoken to several people over time. Just because my grandmother was in a nursing home, my great-grandparents were in a nursing home before they all passed. And I've met and I've spoke with people and roommates of my grandmother's because I was too young for my great-grandparents when they passed. Excuse me. My grandmother's roommate and several other people at the home had dementia. All very, very sweet old people, sweetest people in the world. And they had dementia, or they had the early onset stages of dementia, and it was just like what Joe Biden's doing. He just blanking completely, or who are you again, or where am I? And it's a sad thing to see, and I don't know why. And part of me wants to feel bad for Joe Biden, and then again, I'm being it's he's doing it to himself because he's still continuing to allow it to go on. But he's being drug out into public. He can barely remember, what he's saying, or if he says something, then he's got to go back on it. I didn't say that, and it's all over the internet at this point. Or he's got to go, oh, this is what I meant by what I was saying, because he can't form a full sentence, or he can't say what he actually is supposedly meaning. So, I think Joe Biden is not fit to run, to even be attempting to run for president.
He's not fit to be the mayor of even just a city.
Well, you
let
know,
alone
last
be
time
the
I checked,
country.
he was trying to run for U.S. Senate.
Oh boy, Joe Biden, the gift that just keeps on giving. I tell you.
It's funny to watch, honestly.
It's funny. It's sad, but it's funny. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I mean, he continues to allow himself to be put out there in that way. I mean, if there's any doubt at this point who the real president would be, it's Kamala Harris. I mean, let's just be honest here.
While we're on the subject of presidential candidates, and we know Kamala Harris is going to end up being president if for, like I said, some unforgiven reason. The Helmut Nordpoth model was put out a couple weeks ago, and it has correctly picked 24 out of 26 elections, including the 2016 election. It has Joe Biden with 176 and Donald Trump at 362 with a 91% chance of re-election. Just wanted to throw that little tidbit of information out there for any of you who are into that model.
It's a predicted landslide for Donald Trump. My only misgiving about it is whether or not the Democrats are going to try to pull the mail-in voter fraud. And you know they'll try.
They've already issued mail-in votings in some states.
Oh yeah, they're going to try to steal it with the mail-in voting, and they'll try to delay it as long as possible. Hillary Clinton coming out and saying that Joe Biden should not concede no matter what. You know, so it's one of those that it's going to be a spectacle no matter what, but
it
should be a predicted landslide for Donald Trump. It's looking like the Proud Boys are going to visit Oregon soon, which personally I don't think is a good move for them, because while most Proud Boy meetings are just, you know, everybody waving around an American flag and kind of just talking about Second Amendment and drinking, whatever, you know, while it is mostly that, them running up to Oregon to, you know, have their meeting while the protesters, the Black Lives Matter people, are running around burning things and looting, it's not a good idea, because the second any violence happens, and it will, I mean, it's inevitable at this point. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to do, but the second any violence happens, they're going to say, oh, the right-wing white supremacists attack the peaceful protesters, and you know, the media is going to run with it. They're going to run with it all the way. They're gonna, you know, it's just a gift to them all the way around. They can just use it as propaganda right before the election. It's not good. It hurts Donald Trump, because they'll say, oh, these are these racist Trump supporters and they're attacking the peaceful black protesters and all this mess that's not true.
Right.
You know, so you know, again, the Proud Boys are going up to Oregon, I believe, at either the end of this month or the end of next month. But we are not in agreement that it's a good idea. It's just going to be, again, a gift to the left, so they can just spin it as propaganda.
Right. And as much as I love a good patriotic movement, which the Proud Boys have produced, they don't take any kind of shit. So the minute one of those guys or gals or its lay hands, lay hands on or start shoving one of the Proud Boys, it's gonna spiral out of control. And you know, I'm in 100% agreement with Steven. It's not a good move that the Proud Boys are going up there. You know, will it play out peacefully? You know, fingers crossed to nothing. Okay, and you know, in a perfect world, I would say, yeah, I hope it stays peaceful. But we know it's not going to go there, because Antifa in Black Lives Matter, they want to pick fights. They want to throw up their human traffic barricades, and the Proud Boys, and they don't take any shit. While we're on the subject of Oregon and all that fun stuff, Portland, Oregon Mayor Ted Wheeler got the nastiest surprise of his life the other day, and I wish I could have been there, but I would have been thrown in with the wrong people. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall, okay? He wakes up to fires raging and an angry mob outside of his house. And then he has the balls and the audacity to pack his shit up and move because he doesn't think that he should be affected by what he's allowing to run rampant in his city. The audacity of this clown. Are you kidding me? You want to whine, bitch, moan, and complain that they're outside disturbing your beauty sleep. Yeah, well, what is it doing to the rest of your citizens? You are a hypocritical piece of trash.
You know, it's just like Lori Lightfoot in Chicago, you know? She just allows the most violence and, you know, crime to go on in her city. But she doesn't feel like she has to deal with that because she's above you. You know, the people who voted for her, she's above you. Because that's your problem, and that's something you have to deal with. But you're not allowed to own a gun. You're not allowed to defend yourself. If you do, you're a racist. And, you know, you just have to let criminals, as they say, you have to just do what they say. You have to do what they say and allow them to do whatever they're going to do to you. And Ted Wheeler should be ashamed of himself because he is a cowardly piece of trash that allows these protesters to do what they're doing, burn down cities, attack the federal buildings, and I believe Ted Wheeler is the same one who went out in the crowd with these people and got his ass kicked, and then ran from them at that point. So now he's running now that they're outside of his house. He should be ashamed of himself. The people of Oregon need to get him out of there right now. They need to do whatever they need to do, just like the mayor of Seattle, where they went ahead and you know, are proceeding with a court case against her for the way she behaved. They need to do the exact same thing because Ted Wheeler should be ashamed of himself.
And you know, what really bothers me out of all this, and he's allowing them to burn down these places, and Donald Trump, President of the United States, one of the best presidents we've ever had, lent him his hand in agreement. He said, look, so put our political differences aside. He said, let me send my federal officers to aid you and help you out and get your city back under control. He said, let's put our differences aside. Let's get these people back under control. And you know what Ted Wheeler did? He said, I don't want them here, and I'm not letting them come in. Well, you played yourself, Ted Wheeler, because they just had Oregon State troopers federally deputized, meaning that the federal state troopers in Oregon can arrest rioters and charge them through the Attorney General when the DA will not charge these rioters. So guess what, Oregon? Guess what, Portland? You're all in for a rude awakening. Because now when they're arresting these idiots, they're unmasking them on camera. So their faces get plastered all over national TV. So if they ever decide to crawl out of their mother's basements and they want to go get a job, guess what? Between the charges on their records and their faces plastered everywhere, it's going to be a no-go.
And they'll be stuck living with mommy forever.
Yep. So since we're on the topic of out west in Oregon and the west coast, Nancy Pelosi decided to crawl out of whatever hole she decided to come up out of.
The crypt keeper herself.
I was just going to make that joke. I was like, she just crawled up out of the crypt. And she wanted to go get her hair done. Okay? So we've already discussed Lori Lightfoot and how she felt that she was more important by getting her hair done. So she takes a trip to San Francisco. And she goes to a hair salon in which one of her advisors, Nancy Pelosi's advisors or secretaries or whatever, made the appointment. So it was already set up, it's already in the books. Well, Nancy Pelosi tramples in there and has no mask on, no nothing, and it's on security video. You probably, if you haven't seen it already, go look it up. Just put in Nancy Pelosi hair salon. And had the audacity, after these people opened their shop against lockdown rules, to go in there and get her hair done because she's so high and mighty with her nose stuck up, and go get her hair blown out, or whatever she had done to it, which it didn't help by any means. And she wants to have the audacity to go on stage and go, it was a setup, I was set up, it's their fault. No, you, Nancy Pelosi, the same woman who's bearing down with these enforcements of masks, had the audacity and the nerve to go to this place with no mask on and go get your hair done.
Well, it just shows you what these people actually believe. Because if Nancy Pelosi thought that coronavirus was a real dangerous thing, she would have worn a mask. Mm-hmm. But she didn't, and she mandates you to wear one because you have to do what they say. And she didn't have to because she's above you. And, you know, the thing is yeah, she walked into the salon and they got her hair done. And, you know, personally, it's like putting a wig on Darth Vader. It's just not going to look good no matter what you do. But then she had the nerve to, stand up there and say, oh, it's their fault. You know, they set me up because apparently, a shop having a video camera, as most of them do, is setting her up in some way. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, the fact of the matter is that she decided that she was going to... And by the way, if you're Nancy Pelosi, if you're a congressperson, you know, if you're you know, the Speaker of the House, whatever you are, if you're at that level, wouldn't you just have somebody do a house call for you? Just have somebody come to your own house and do your hair for you rather than break so-called guidelines and go out without a mask on and have the shop open up when they're not supposed to be open for you to get your hair cut? Wouldn't you just have them come to your house? But it just shows you how these people think, what they really care about, what they really believe. And they don't have you in their best interest, so there it is.
Rules for ye, not for me.
Yes.
Do as I say, not as I do, whatever you want to call it.
Exactly.
So, a St. Louis police officer was shot and killed on the way to a shooting call. Tamaris Bohannon was the officer's name. Rest in peace, sir. Your brothers in blue have the watch and the line from here. And he's a black officer. You ain't heard nothing out of Black Lives Matter because they made it quite clear that if you're a black cop, black firefighter, black EMT paramedic, any black public servant, or you are making it good for yourself by you having your own business, they don't care. They made that quite clear. And, you know, I go through social media, and these people are like, oh yeah, Black Lives Matter isn't going anywhere. It's just getting started. What, are you freaking blind? Seriously? What? Yeah, they're not going to go anywhere. Yeah, because they're moving across the country. They're destroying everything in their path. If you look, you can't even begin to tell me. There have been zero peaceful protests. It has been riot after riot after riot after riot.
And on top of that, you know, the comment, oh, the Black Lives Matter isn't going anywhere. Really? Well, Black Lives Matter has not yet seen patriots get angry yet. Black Lives Matter has been able to run around the city, run around the country, burning and looting as they please, you know, because good people, have sat back and waited for the government to do what they're going to do, get things under control.
And the president's trying. He's making an effort. He's not sitting on his ass.
You know, he's trying to get it under control. He can only do so much. He's not a dictator.
Right.
But, you know, Black Lives Matter has been, you know, unstoppable because there's been no one in their way. It's coming soon. I'm telling you right now, it's coming soon. There will be somebody in their way very soon, and those cowards will run with their tails tucked between their legs the second it happens.
But you know what I find funny, and going back to the Kenosha shooting, the second that he started shooting those people in self-defense, the same people who hate and despise and want cops dead in the middle of the streets are the same ones going, call 911, call the police. Seriously? Are you kidding me? How big of hypocrites do you have to be? You don't want the police and you want to hate them until you need them.
It's almost like parents.
Oh!
You know, it's almost like these quote-unquote grown adults are living with their parents, have, you know, behavioral issues with their parents, and then somebody with authority, like a cop, comes over to get them under control, and they just scream and cry and bitch and moan like children. So, back towards the East Coast here. Kentucky had quite another interesting show from our I don't even know what we're going to call them.
The idiots from NFAC. The Not Fudging Around Coalition. And if you haven't heard, NFAC is an all-black militia. And I use that term loosely because they're anything but professional. And it's led by a guy he goes by Grandmaster J. Now my first question is, why is somebody who is against slavery, Stephen, go by the name of Grandmaster? Now if you know your history, the leaders of the Klan were called Grand Wizards. So what is that implying there, Grandmaster J?
It sounds like he just came up with a name in his basement, and we're like, oh, this sounds good, and I'll put together a all-black militia with my buddies, and we're going to get together, and none of them know how to shoot a gun.
No, they don't. So, and to prove that, if I find the video, I'll link it in the description below. This guy decides to go out dressed up in his all-black military uniform and, militia uniform. Goes to a shooting range with an AR-15, which is that is his American right. All right, don't say that I'm hating on him because he's black. No, that's not the case. I'm all for it. You go to the shooting range, whatever. Takes his AR-15 to the shooting range, and the targets at a shooting range are generally between 25 to 30 yards away. You know, you're not shooting friggin' sniper rifles in there. 50 cals. And he cracks off a couple rounds. Okay, cool. Then he gets down on his one knee, and he's sitting there waiting, because he wants to, play hero. And the target comes back. He missed every shot. Not even that he missed the outline of the black on the target. He missed the entire target. And they're not small targets either. They're like the big, I don't know, like 2 foot by 2 foot, 2 foot by 3 foot targets. Man-sized targets. He missed every single shot. And in one of his introduction videos, he's like, oh, we're all ex-military, we're all, expert shooters. Expert shooters doing what? I could hit a target from 30 yards away with my eyes closed and one hand behind my back. Alright? If you miss a 30-yard target, you can't call yourself an expert shooter. Those are like, I would hand, if I had a kid, I would hand him a 22 and put a target 30 yards away and let him have at it. Seriously? You missed a target at 30 yards and you want to talk big and bad? I know guys out there that can end you from over 100 yards away. Alright, don't. So, speaking of him wanting to be ex-military, Stephen, I have a thing against, people who want to pretend to be military soldiers. And, you can dress up for paintball and all that good stuff in old military uniforms. You do the proper things with them, taking off the patches and IDs. Well, Genius here claims to be a sergeant major for the United States Army. Well, there's no record of that. There's no information on it. He actually ran for president in 2016, believe it or not. Dead ass serious. I found that out and I was really surprised. And in his accolades to run down and be, oh, this is why I should be president, nowhere does he list former military or sergeant major in the United States Army. He had this in one of his videos where he's, bashing us on, hating on him because he's an idiot, and not our video specifically. He's wearing this black, sparkly, glittery kind of shirt. It's got a sergeant major pin. Against military code, you are not supposed to wear that on civilian clothing. You are also not supposed to wear that kind of stuff out in public if you are not military with proper military ID. Okay? So that's called stolen valor, and that is illegal. And I don't like people who do that. And he's already had 2 strikes with me. So, no, it's not gonna fly. NFAC, you're just another joke, okay?
It's a collection of play soldiers, guys running around, trying to steal, accolades that aren't theirs, and pretending like they know what they're doing. It's a complete and utter joke.
It really is. In their last gathering, which was outside the Kentucky Derby the other day, of course, they're all dressed in black, running around with guns and stuff. Well, the meeting before that they made the news for was when one of their toy soldiers decided, you know, he was out in the heat and it was hot and he was keeping his legs locked and he passed out and hit the ground. Well, gun goes off because he was using some old ass shotgun. Alright? That shouldn't be out in public. Okay? Those old guns, yeah, they don't have the safety mechanisms of what a firearm does today. So when he hit the ground and shot 3 of his buddies, comrades, whatever they're calling themselves, you know, he made the video that I referenced a while back about him hitting the rifle off the ground. The only thing it does is move the bolt forward. You know, and he goes, the bolt goes forward. The weapon has fired. Any intelligent gun owner knows that that's not true. All that is the bolt holdover from when you shot your last round of the last magazine, and, you know, the bolt holdover, it stayed open because the magazine's empty. You still have to pull the bolt carrier back, you know, and re-rack it, and that all it does is bring the next round out of the magazine into the chamber. You still have to pull the trigger. You still got to make it go bang. And, you know, I wish he would have proved his point, or tried to. The gun he was using was empty. It was like an AR-15 or M16 or something that he bought back in 1990. Then he called it a bullpup. He's like, oh, it'll lay your ass out. Dude, come on, seriously? That thing has barely any kick to it. I've shot many an AR-15, and that thing has no kick. So, you already lost your point there. But anyways, they decided to disturb the Kentucky Derby the other day, and they made a fool out of themselves. You know, they're not proving anything to anybody. They're just being idiots. They want to make themselves feel better. So while we're on the subject of NFAC, Black Lives Matter, and Antifa decided it was a good idea to start putting out hits on people who put their movement into the ground because they're a joke. They put a hit out on Kyle Rittenhouse for defending himself. I want to know who's going to do it. Kyle Rittenhouse is in a jail cell right now, unfortunately. And no offense, but if you start putting out hits on everybody, you're going to start running into states like the state here of West Virginia, where we aren't not allowed to shoot people when they threaten us or try to do us harm. Good luck with you carrying out your play hits. I'll go ahead and, you know, you want to play Mafia, you want to play, Gangland, do it somewhere else, alright? That's not going to fly around here.
No, and continuing with Antifa, we've got Michael Reinhold, who is the Antifa protester who attacked a Trump supporter, killed him. He's the Antifa protester who shot him who shot the Trump supporters. He's walking down the street. He was with his friends, and they said, "Oh, there's one right there. We got another Trump supporter," and they went over. They shot him. Mm-hmm. Well, he just recently was shot himself by policemen who showed up, believed to do a no-knock warrant of some kind, and he turned around and immediately started opening fire against them, and they killed him, which is rightly deserved. He's a blatant murderer, piece of garbage, and you can find all of his, pages from years ago where he was, I'm Antifa all the way, death to America, this and that. So he just an absolute loser, piece of scum. And, so he got gunned down by the police as he decided to open fire on them. So, justice was served that day.
Yeah. And talking about shooting people, it's getting ridiculous. Stop trying to shoot police officers. Quit trying to pull weapons on them. And quit crying when you get shot for it. Alright? It is what it is. They just had a kid in D.C., 18 years old. Can't even buy a gun in D.C. So, there's one strike. Number two, the guy had a record of being a gang member. And three, his buddy in the car with him at the time, and you'll find out where this story is going here in a minute, was also registered for gang activity. So, black 18-year-old kid decided it was a good idea to drive around with his buddy, with masks on, playing rap music in the background, flashing around firearms like an idiot in front of a camera. And they had the police called on them, and they had a traffic stop initiated. Well, both of them decided to take off running. Okay, well, at one point the officer ends up with this kid behind him, and they're armed. So the kid takes the gun out, and in the video, this is where people are picking it apart, and I've seen the video. He brings the gun, and in the video he is tossing it away. However, the motion that he makes to take it and throw it away brings it up like this, and then wants to throw his arm out. You should have just gave up. You should have just laid down and been like, alright, I give up, I have a gun on me, you would have been fine, alright? But when you take and you reach, and you bring it up, and then want to toss it away, the cop thought he was pulling the gun on him, and he was shot and killed. If you're going to try to disarm yourself, don't do it. Don't do it, and, you know, when you're going to disarm yourself, toss it to the side, don't bring it up in a shooting stance, and then go to toss it, okay? You know, lesson learned, apparently for him, or I don't know what happened to his buddy. My guess he got arrested, because there was no, you know, news article about the other guy getting shot. But, or here's an idea. Don't be flashing around a gun like an idiot, and then chase after a cop with a gun. Alright? That case closed.
You know, I mean, these people that want to, you know, immediately confront police with violence, and then don't seem to understand that a policeman is somebody that has to, in a split decision, make the choice to shoot you or, you know, lose their own life because of criminals, that keep cropping up now, of, you know, people that just, as soon as they see a policeman, they attack them, or they try to steal their taser, or they punch them, they fight them, they wrestle with them, or they get argumentative. So they already are expecting somebody to be violent when they deal with them. And then on top of that, somebody, you know, who you're dealing with pulls a gun out, you know, you got to take them down right there. They don't know what's going on. They don't know, you know, what your intentions are. Let's just wait to see what he does with that gun first. No, they have to take you out right there because they don't want to die. So, you know, this idea that there's all this police brutality and the police are just hunting people down, and, you know, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the scrutiny of the police. Obviously, yeah, you want to have some. You want to make sure people aren't being, you know, unfairly, you know, targeted or killed, whatever. That's fine. But to then say, well, every policeman is bad, and we need to now defund the police, we need to attack the police every time we see them, we need to make sure that they feel uncomfortable and not able to do their jobs, is absurd.
You know, and police are getting tired everywhere of not being able to do their jobs. There have been several videos that have popped up that when the police show up and they start using pepper balls to disperse these crowds, they scatter like roaches. You know, they talk big and bad, we're going to kill the cops, we're going to take them down, rah, rah, rah. You're armed with what, a couple umbrellas and, you know, a couple bricks provided by the Democratic mayors of the city? Alright, but when they start shooting at you with pepper balls, you want to run and scatter. You know, where's your confidence then? Alright, you little keyboard warriors, Jesus. Do something about it. But then if you do, don't cry and whine that your comrade got gunned down in the middle of the street because he wanted to be dumb.
Yep.
So, on a lighter note of today, the federal officers, U.S. Marshals, the feds, local police agencies, Operation, I believe it was Not Forgotten, took place, and it was to bust up sex trafficking rings. They rescued 25 kids in Ohio, and then they rescued 39 in Georgia. Well done, you guys. We are so happy that those kids were found, and they're, you know, unfortunately, they will have to go through a lot of counseling to, you know, to help them cope, but we appreciate your guys' hard work and dedication, and also thank you to Attorney General Barr, who was also behind making Operation Not Forgotten happen.
Absolutely.
You know, we appreciate each and every one of you individual officers. We appreciate you, Mr. Barr. You know, fantastic work, you guys, and keep it up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, these are one of the things that don't get talked about Trump's presidency, is all of these pedophile rings that keep getting, shut down by him and found out, and they save the children. And it's because a lot of these people are being, a lot of these children are being ran by people who
Yeah.
but don't have any clue that they're doing that. I mean, it's public fact. Bill Clinton was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane and visited his island several times.
Yeah. Along with several other big names, because Ghislaine Maxwell, she just had her day in court, first day in court. She listed off quite a few names of big people. The Clintons, of course, Jeffrey Epstein. You got Tom Hanks and Al Gore. All right, so there's 4 big names that most of you should know, and there are many more to come. It's only a matter of time before they keep digging and digging and digging, and that ring will be uncovered. Arrests will be, high-profile arrests will be made, and what we're talking about, you'll be like, wow, they were right the entire time. And not even just us. We're not asking for a cookie or a pat on the back or anything, so don't go saying that we were. But everything that the media, or what the media isn't saying, and you might be finding from individual sources, will come out to be true. It's only a matter of time. They've got one of the highest people in that sex ring, Ghislaine Maxwell. And she's already throwing people under the bus.
Prince Andrew, the Queen's son.
I heard about that. I was surprised.
I'm not, and there's a lot of reasons for that.
Oh.
But, there are a lot of high-profile people that will be found out, that will be brought to justice, and so that's another one of these great cornerstones of President Trump's presidency, is that he's been able to take out these people. And again, applause to all the people involved, saving those children in Ohio and Georgia. Fantastic.
Yeah. On a less lighter note of the sex trafficking stuff going on, California, being California of course, just made it not a felony to sexually molest a child. Because they don't want to offend. Pedophilia is not a sexual orientation, you're a freaking a monster. Alright? Now, and if you even try to defend a pedophile, what kind of person? You're not even a person. You're just as bad as the person doing it. And if you condone it, it's their right. It's their choice. No, it ain't.
California is such a sickening, disgusting state. Honestly, I kind of hope they secede, because it's getting disgusting at this point what they're allowing to go on. Even just recently, within the last 2 years, I believe, they legalized for somebody somebody that has a sexually transmitted disease to have sex with people and not tell them what they have, before they have sex with somebody. So somebody could have AIDS, and have sex with you, and now you have AIDS, and it was legal for them to just hide it from you.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, oh, now you can have sex with children. It's disgusting. The people of California, I don't know what is in their head, but they're getting very, very, very anti-American, and it's just disgusting.
Well, that's where all your high-end people are from. So I feel like this is just tied in with that pedophilia ring of all those actors of Hollywood. Riddle me this: why does Ellen's set look like Jeffrey Epstein's island? If you look up the pictures side by side, you'll see what I'm talking about. And I feel like Oprah is more than likely involved.
Oprah is absolutely involved. Oprah, she is on record saying children like to be molested.
Yeah, that's right. She did make that statement.
She's on record saying that children like to be molested, and there are rumblings. I don't know if she was no, I don't know. I don't know that she was involved with Epstein, but she was. There are rumblings that she is involved with the trafficking of young women, because Oprah has some proclivities towards women.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things. You look into it, but it is said that Oprah is high level in that as well.
I feel like the California governor and the mayors of like San Francisco and all these other places are probably involved with that, and that's probably why they legalized it, so they're not getting caught up in that. But again, when the names are leaked and the arrests are made and it's all public and it's plastered everywhere, it's only a matter of time. And you know what else is disgusting is that CNN, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, all those news agencies said dick squat about Operation Not Forgotten. They haven't said anything.
They're complicit.
Yeah, CNN news anchor, all those news anchors probably got some little, even if it's not real high ranking, they probably got their hands dirty in there somewhere.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Anderson Cooper's name on there. Not at all.
Yeah, it's only a matter of time, really. So we want to give you guys a little preview of what's going on. Come Election Day, after, of course, we go out and vote, we're going to do a live stream, and we'd like all of you to join us. We'd like you to share it with your friends, share it with your family members, whoever. And Steve and I are just going to sit during the running of the election coverage, and we'll just kind of, shoot the shit, banter back and forth, laugh and point out what they're doing wrong or what we find funny. And when they announce, state votes coming in, you'll see our reactions to that. But we just wanted to let you guys know that that's going to happen, and we are looking forward to making that happen, and we look forward to having you guys along with us. And if you guys comment during the live stream, we'll do our best to answer. We'll do our best to shout you guys out for your support. And it's going to be
It's gonna
not
be
a serious
time.
topic. It's just we're gonna sit back, have a drink or two, have some popcorn or some snacks. We're just gonna go with it.
Absolutely. We expect to be up late because, I remember the last election, they did not want to call Florida up until midnight. They just did not
Florida, I
want to
think,
call
was
Florida.
like the last state to get called.
It could have been. They were refusing. They wanted to run it until they absolutely were sure. Even though Trump had ran away with it at a certain point,
He did.
they were like, no, we got to keep it open. But we're expecting to be up late.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put it up actually on our channel once the election's actually over. We'll put the whole video up on our channel. So if you want to check it out, you don't want to watch it live, that's fine.
Yep.
We'll put it up on our channel anyway.
Yeah. So we look forward to seeing you guys there. And if you can't catch it live, definitely check it out after we put it on the channel. And like I said, don't be afraid to comment during the live stream. We'll do our best to answer questions. We'll do our best to shout you guys out. Thank you all for your support. That kind of stuff throughout the entire thing. It's just going to be a real relaxed kind of, conversation point.
Yeah. But to go ahead and close out the day here, we've got the CDC admitting that their numbers were fake.
Yep.
And fudged the entire time.
We called it.
We knew it. The thing is, they were slapping coronavirus deaths on anything they possibly could. Mm-hmm. You get in a car accident, they say you died of COVID. And the thing is the hospitals were being paid to say coronavirus is a cause of death. Yep. And so, we knew it. Conservatives knew it. Conservatives who looked into it knew it. The leftists that follow the media, they believe the whole thing hook, line, and sinker. But, the entire time, they were fudging the numbers, saying people died. I believe it was only 10,000 died.
Yeah, just at 10,000 or just over 10,000 people actually died from coronavirus itself out of the 150-some thousand deaths that we've had.
Yes, they were saying that it was something like crazy, like 150,000, 200,000 people were going to die just in the first, bit of getting the coronavirus.
Yeah.
But it was 10,000. Obviously, regrettable. 10,000 people died.
Yes, of course.
It's bad.
Any number of deaths is very sad. We're not playing down, the seriousness of the cases of those people that had died. Not by any means. But those who actually died from coronavirus was only at 10,000 or just over 10,000 from coronavirus by itself. Out of the 150-some thousand that they said, oh, they all died. Yeah, well, you notice CNN hasn't ran their piece about the coverage yet because they don't want to admit it.
Yeah, they don't want to admit it. And the thing is a lot of those deaths from the elderly people, that is on the Democrat mayor's hands, the Democrat politicians' hands. Cuomo. A lot of that is on their hands because Cuomo himself had the people put in the sick coronavirus patients. They put them in the nursing homes with the older people, and they died because of that. So a lot of that was going on. So, you know, a lot of that blood is on their hands, by the way. But, you know, again, the numbers were faked, and everybody knew.
Yeah. So, you know, the seriousness of the coronavirus, you know, the positivity rates, you can't change the positivity rates, but it's not as fatal as what they were playing out to be. You know, and they're playing the tune of, oh, it's so horrible, and it's like a 99% survivability rate. Seriously, I think it dropped down early on to like a 98% survivability rate. There's like a 2% death rate. Come on now. So, in conclusion of this, the CDC, you know, nobody believes you anymore. Nobody believes the media about the numbers anymore. California, New York, Chicago, Oregon, all the Democratic-run places, still allowing this carnage to go on. Kyle Rittenhouse, still obviously self-defense. California, you're all nasty, sick people,
Sickening,
freaks.
disgusting losers.
And Grandmaster Jay, as Steven and I were saying earlier, if you fell out of a boat, you couldn't hit water.
That's how poor a shot you are, you son of a bitch. You couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat.
You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. Like a stormtrooper, you can't hit shit. But that's it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share the video. Get our podcast information out there to all your friends and family members. And remember, keep America great.